this year hip hop is celebrating its 50th anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So can you tell us, your experience and what you learned looking back at what hip hop has accomplished throughout these 50 years?
Wow, man, it's really, I think hip hop is a prime example of the spirit of our people. You know what I'm saying? I say our people, I'm gonna say black and brown people, but we know there are other folks who've contributed and added on to the cipher of hip hop. But when it comes to, black and brown people, and our impact on the world, when we think of, coming up in the 70s and the 80s and not being able to see yourself on TV, not be able to see yourself in the movies, you had to really, search in order to see positive reflections of black and brown people, and hip hop kind of kicked the door in a lot of ways, and gave our people a platform to shine and be their best self, and unfortunately, we're not always our best self, but I think the most important thing is that we have, we've created a lane for ourselves. We just got to work on controlling the lane and controlling the platforms, and having ownership in that sense. But just the impact of our spirit, our cultural influence, the music, the arts, the dance, the fashion, the whole 9 yards. You look worldwide, people, checking for what we doing. You know what I mean? That's hip hop. That's the beauty of hip hop culture.
Yes. So, even with the main elements of hip hop, it also extended itself. Grandmaster Cass was speaking to that. Podcasters these days are surrounding their content around hip hop, and
Yeah.
through hip hop, it created an avenue for those who had other talents outside of the music and different things like that.
Yep.
This is a culture that is heavily documented and commented by a lot of people. It's almost like a sport. Now, we're talking about politics and current events. Math Hoffa and China Mac recently got into like a debacle, but one of the main things that I've noticed that was ringing in that conversation was should other people have input on what goes on, not only in street culture, black street culture, but as well as hip hop, even though they may have had a song or two or whatever, but do they have the right to dictate or give strong insight or input into the culture? What do you feel about that?
I think that what happens is we conflate different subjects. So a lot of times we say hip hop culture, we really mean rap music, or if we say hip hop culture, we really mean the music industry or the entertainment industry. When we say street culture, street culture is street culture. Street culture is streets don't love nobody. Streets don't owe nobody nothing, right? So when we talk about street culture, right off rip, you know that anybody can come in and exploit street culture. That's what it's there for. It's to be exploited, or you're the exploiter or the exploited when you talk about street culture, right? When you talk about hip hop culture, you're talking about us building around culture in ways where we didn't have to rely on street culture. We could use the arts, we could use our talents, we could use our skills to create avenues outside of the exploitation of street culture, right? Now, anybody that wants to participate in the wholeness of the culture is always welcome. I don't think color, should dictate people's participation in the culture. Respect is what should dictate your participation in the culture, and that respect has to be born of, a certain, like, coming up in the 70s and 80s, we had this term called down by law, where just not anybody could get on, not anybody could just pick up the mic, not anybody could get in the cipher. You had to kind of be, you had to get the respect of the people that came before you, and we got to return to that. So we talk about Grandmaster Caz and Kool Herc. You talk about Zulu Nation. We talk about Crazy Legs and Rocksteady and New York Breakers, and you talk about all these individuals. A lot of these people are still here with us. When they know who you are and they say this is dope, then it's dope. When you got somebody coming from a corporate building just because they put a whole bunch of money behind something, don't necessarily make it hip hop.